Hello everybody, this is Ryan over High Carb Regenerator. Welcome back to my channel. Today I've actually been asked, well actually it was the other day, I was asked, has high carb, low fat helped my mental state, um, the way I think, maybe my memory. And so I wanted to go into that in this video today. Another thing that I would like to start off with before we get even into the topic is, if you've got a topic that you want me to talk about, leave it down in the comments. The one that gets the most thumbs up, or the most common one, I'll make that video. I've got a lot of notes here on videos that people want me to make. Some of them I just think are very just pertinent to that person. I don't know that it would help anybody else. So I tend not to make those videos because, I try to make videos that have kind of a wider base. Anyways, wider base, huh? Anyways, so has this helped my mental state? Has it helped my memory? I've always had a really good memory. Ask anybody that knows me. It annoys people, I think, almost. My memory is just, I can read something, I can hear something. And this is where, but this can also be a downfall too, because I'll hear something, it goes in the air, it goes in the brain, and all of a sudden, I'll be in a conversation with somebody, or I'll be in the chat and chatting it up with somebody, and I'll remember this tidbit of information, and I'll say, well, blah blah blah, blah. I heard this blah 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 back in the day, and they're like, well, don't you have 35 studies that prove that? And blah 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 blah. And no, I just this person said this to me, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I have not seen anything to refute it. So here you go. And so it can backfire on you when you've got a memory that can just pull things up at any time in any conversation. And I don't know if it annoys people or if it just, they don't believe you unless you've got like 35 studies behind it. I don't know what it is. So sometimes it does kind of backfire, but I've always had the memory thing. But cognitively, I have to say that if you are consistent on the high carb, low fat lifestyle, whether it be McDougall style, or whether it be durianrider style, whether it be rice diet, whether it be, there's different variations. Nathan Pritikin, who has some, they all have, other than durianrider, they all kind of have some contradictory stuff in their books and in their videos and talks and lectures, but by and large, they're all high carb, low fat. And yeah, I do have to say that, the more consistent you are, the less fat that you add in, even though the brain is pretty much made out of fat, but it runs off carbs. You do have, I'm not going to say it's a complete enlightenment, but you do start having thoughts of like, maybe do this or maybe do that, where you didn't have those before. You're kind of clogged up and weren't functioning correctly. You were stuck maybe too much in the system, if you are. And now you kind of just remove yourself from that, and you kind of watch that from the background. Now, I've always been that way, but I'm getting even more into that. For example, I guess there was some kind of shooting at University of Virginia or something like that. I just heard about it. I don't watch a ton of football anymore, but I was watching a game last night, and they were talking about something. It's Virginia, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about. And you do kind of start removing yourself from the standard day-to-day that you don't get caught up in anymore. And I don't know if that, I don't know if that's because of high carb, low fat, or just because I'm getting more and more into like, the enlightenment. I'm more like Dan the Man than I think durianrider with some of this stuff. Like, I do kind of go, I'm not involved with a lot of what's going on. So, but I've noticed that that's happening more and more and more and more. The less fat I add, the less gunk that I add, the less of the hummuses and muffins of the world. But that doesn't change the fact that there's a lot of fat and oil and butter, vegan or not, in the food. So it's just going to kind of clog up the the body. It clogs up the digestive system. It clogs up everything that you need to be cognitively aware of your surroundings in your life. And that, I think, is where the high preservative, high junk food, kind of snack food, this really plays a huge role. Like I said in a lot of the videos now, I do DoorDash, and I kind of like the shopping ones because it's on my own time. Cracks me up. Like I'll have people send me in huge bold letters, "Don't get anything with sugar in it." And I'm like, and when you deliver this stuff, they're rotund most of the time. They're terrified of the sugar. And everybody's got these like 85-inch TVs now, and you can see that they're watching the news, and not to say that watching the news is bad, but I think people get caught up in this stuff a little too much when they are eating this food. Like I feel like your thought process is very monotone, or just not as good as it could be when you're eating that kind of food. It seems to keep you in a certain vibrational level, and you can't get out of that vibrational level if you don't change your vibration that you eat. We are what we eat, and if you eat a lot of fruits, if you eat a lot of vegetables, which are all high vibrational, I mean, obviously rose is the highest vibrational thing that we know of. It vibrates at like a 200,000 hertz or something like that, where even kale is like at 1,000. So roses are just way up there. But when you get these fruits, they vibrate at a high level, even if they're picked unripe, even if they're, conventional. They vibrate so much higher level than any kind of food that you're going to buy in a package anywhere. And so it starts kind of vibrating off those weird energies that you had before. And it starts taking you into, this video is, by the way, not taking a path that I thought it was going to. But it starts taking you into a new way of thinking. And you are just a different person. And this is going to play havoc with some of your friends. Now, your diet already is going to play havoc with some of the people you know, some of the people you associate with, some of the people you hang out with. It's already going to get in the way of that. It already is. So you're already going to be kind of used to being, well, you can come over if you bring your own food. You're already going to get used to that. But the people who are doing that, you may all just start separating from altogether. You might just not have enough commonality anymore. You just don't have that thought process anymore. Like I used to, I was at a bar, so I was at a bar picking up an order for DoorDash. Saturday night, Ohio State was playing. My entire Saturday used to be based around Ohio State playing. And I'm watching these people watching this game. And they're freaking out, like all celebration and throwing stuff. I'm like, this is nuts. I could not be in that state of mind anymore. And it's not like they were younger than me. They're all about my age or a little bit older. And I'm watching them watch this, and I'm watching and observing this. And it's just not somewhere that I'm at anymore. And I have a feeling that it's a lot of the higher vibrational stuff that I eat. And the fact that if they win or they lose, I mean, really, what does it do for me? It really does nothing at all. I mean, they lost. I don't believe that they really lost to Michigan last year, but no Ohio State fan ever does. They lost to Michigan last year. I still kept on going. So, you're going to start noticing, in my mind, anyway, this might not happen to you, and it might take a while. But in my mind, it's going to start changing. And, it's weird because when you start changing, you forget that old modality or the old process that you had. And people will start reminding you of that. So they'll be like, oh, you used to love this. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Or whoever it is, you used to love that. I mean, we got you a birthday present of Ohio State tickets. And not like I wouldn't go, but like, they start reminding you of the old things that you used to flip out about, or old things that, you used to get excited about, or old things that, you just couldn't wait to do. And you're just not there anymore. And I think a lot of that plays into the fact that a lot of the parasites and all of the gunk that's in your body keeps you at that energy level. And once you start kind of getting out of that, the gunk and everything is like, the pool of your body starts becoming clearer and clearer and clearer. You start moving down a path mentally, and the rest of you is going to transition with it. This video is not what I thought it was going to be. This is why I don't plan anything. And it starts getting clearer and clearer, and you start being more focused on something that's the reason you're here. You're not here to watch Ohio State football. You're here to do something like I am right now. I'm helping people with changing their life around, whether it be diet. Maybe their diet's already set. Maybe mentally they're not in a good spot, and I can help with that, right? So as you this video really, I swear. As you transition into this diet, especially if you're really high raw, you're really going to notice a lot of things that used to bother you don't bother you anymore. People that used to like to keep around, you just don't like keeping around anymore. I mean, the sky's the limit with this one, right? Or people that used to try to be in your life, but you just weren't on their energy level anymore, right? You were like, football, but they were actually trying to go to the orchestra with you or something like that. And you just couldn't bother. But those people might start appearing in your life now because you are ready for a different level of life. That, in my mind, has come from high carb, low fat. The cognitive, you can think better. Most of the time you can sleep better. In my mind, I can only talk about my experience with it. But in my mind, my sleep has gotten better with high carb, low fat, which I think elevates the mental aspect. But it all kind of combines now, and you realize that this is the diet that we're meant to eat. If you were to be dropped off on an island, I know we watch these shows, right? People get dropped off on an island, stranded on an island, and there's no food whatsoever. But if you were to get stranded on an island that had food growing from the trees, majority of the time, it's going to be very high carb, low fat, unless you happen to be dropped off on an avocado island, which I guess could happen. But other than that, I mean, or like a pecan or a macadamia island with avocados, you might, but even then, the vibration of that food is going to be superior to anything that you're going to find in a bag. Even if you're stuck being high fat, right? The vibration of that food is going to be better than anything that you can get at a grocery store, and you're going to have a higher mental state. But the reality is you're going to be dropped off on an island that has nothing but bananas, mangoes, pineapple growing out of the ground like they do, and just different fruits, right? And it's all going to be high carb, low fat. And that, I mean, can you imagine what, your mental state would turn out to be? You wouldn't even be the same person anymore. I think that's where I was going with that. You wouldn't even be in the same mental state anymore. You would be a completely different person. Nobody would recognize you when you were done with the experiment. And you would just naturally attract different people into your life because of the vibration that you were at. And it's going to change everything around it. And you're going to have to, I think a lot of people struggle with this. And a lot of people don't want that to happen because they can see it happening. They've already separated from the tribe just by not eating meat anymore. They've already separated from the tribe by not eating bovine, secretions, right? Milk. They've already separated from, I separated from the tribe years ago, right? I've never been a part of a tribe other than the Ryan tribe. First day of first grade, I mean, I was just on my own, threw an apple. I was on the bus by myself. Unfortunately, I threw my apple at the bus driver. I said, I don't want any of this propaganda. I have left the tribe a long time ago in my single digits. And I left the tribe even more when I started doing high carb, low fat, vegan. And I have noticed there are, if you want to call them repercussions, there are repercussions to that because people are going to separate from you. And that's a good thing because you don't need that anchor bringing you down. You want people in your life who may not be vegan, but they don't care, right? And this is like at least the vibration that you want to get to. Get away from the 3-letter agencies. Get away from all that kind of stuff. And you will think on a different level. Now, I'm not saying I'm a sage. I'm not saying I'm a Zen, out there but I don't really think like other people, and I never have. But it has gotten more mentally clear ever since when you're consistent. When you're not consistent, you are going to be stuck like in purgatory of food. But if you are very consistent with, like even Thanksgiving, I hopefully I'm going to make a video about this. I've got a dip that I'm going to be making. It's a high carb, low fat. I got a way of making pita chips that's no fat whatsoever. I've got different ways of doing things, and it just really. Nobody notices, right? Nobody cares about if you bring your own stuff. I'm going to bring my own air fryer, matter of fact. Nobody cares. Like, everybody's just like, you get to eat your own food. You don't have to eat that high fat stuff. You don't have to screw up your mental state. And everybody's just fine with it, right? They're actually happy that you're bringing your own shit because they don't have to worry about it anymore. They can just murder their turkey and eat it in front of you, right? It might smell a little to you. The longer you're vegan, the more it's going to smell. The more you're going to smell this stuff. But, it's old smells. Your body's used to it. And you can just move on. You don't have to like be the burden to these people. And then you'll start getting invited more. You might show up with your air fryer or whatever, but at least you're there. And this is where the video has gone. Hopefully it answered the question. I'm even surprised myself, some of these videos. I just turn on the camera and here we are. 1947 in. Oh, actually, it's going to be cut, so it probably won't be this long for you. But I think that is my answer. I know that's my answer. Yes, it's going to change whether you're ready for it or not. And that's the part that you're going to have to ask yourself. Are you ready to be in a different vibrational pattern than the people around you? Because it's going to happen. And are they going to stick around? Because if they're not, they probably weren't worth it anyways. But if they do, like my best friend, we don't hang out as much as we used to, granted. But he's fine. And Sandy, we did it together in many ways. So, what do you have to lose, really? I mean, your mental state is going to be much better. Your memory, I've always had a good memory. So I haven't really noticed anything there. But, I'd imagine your memory is going to get better. Now, this is not to say the rainbows and butterflies everywhere. You're going to have your rough days just like everybody else. But a lot of the times you can mentally be in a better state during the day and after the day too. So anyways, also, if you've made it this far, which would you rather that I do? Like a Facebook group or a Patreon thing? I'm really, this month, I'm going to hopefully get things done. The art job is really tapering off. I'm going to have more time on my hands. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do because I want to have it up and running by January because everybody's got to lose weight in January, right? Magical weight loss month. I'm also going to be doing the rice diet, but it's going to be on the group. It's not going to be on here. So let me know down in the comments. Talk to you next time. And like Share the video too. I really need everybody to start sharing these videos because YouTube is not going to do it for me because they don't like the fact that I don't talk about keto in a good light. Anyways, talk to you next time.